Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Play Space Engineers as a German engineer. If you're new here, I'm Daniel. I've been born and raised in Germany and I've been living and working as a software engineer in the San Francisco Bay Area, Silicon Valley, for the last 10 or so years. In the last episode, we built our H2 hydrogen transporter. You can see it in the back. We tried to turn it into a drone, but that kind of went nowhere, and we crashed it and we destroyed parts of our docking station back there. So this time I want to take a more structured approach to making this a drone. I've actually prepared a nice list of things over here on my monitor that I'm going to go over to make this drone attempt successful. Let's get over to the transporter and I'll walk you through what I want to do. Okay, the way that I want to approach this today is, first of all, I'm going to repair whatever is broken. But aside of that, I'm going to make a couple changes to this drone, which is not technically a drone yet. But first of all, the most important change that I'm going to do, I'm going to add a cargo container somewhere that I can easily accessible from up here, because last time I kind of died because I was running out of hydrogen. I landed on the top of my drone here. The drone was doing its thing, flying away, and while I have plenty of hydrogen on board, I couldn't actually access it. I don't have any access to the conveyor system from up here. So I'm going to add a cargo container so I get access to the conveyor system. In addition to that, I'm going to move these event controllers. I'm going to put them on a small grid rotor. I was thinking about doing that last time, and I thought I could get away without it. I do still think technically I probably can get away without it, but it'll save me some space. So, and then right now the ship is also, like, the back is much longer than the front in terms of relative to, like, where kind of like the pivot point is. I want to change that. It'll make it less likely that the ship crashes into things when it maneuvers and turns around. So I think I want to take this small hydrogen tank and move it to the front, basically. Get it in between this connector and this tank. For that, I'll actually need to attach the ship to something else in this connector, because right now that's the connector is the only thing that holds it up, and if I disconnected it would just crash. Then I also rethought a little bit like how this tank works, and I'll keep it, but I'll make it like a reserve tank or emergency tank only. The ship will generally run on hydrogen from its cargo containers, and only when these cargo containers run low or dry, it'll start pulling hydrogen from this tank here. And I'll walk you through the full setup of event controllers and whatnot for the hydrogen supply and for the loading and unloading later. I've mapped it all out. This time I'm gonna get this right, and I'm gonna prepare everything like on paper. I've everything mapped out. I've everything written down. I know exactly what I want to do, and I just need to walk you guys through it now. So I'm pretty sure this will be successful this time. The other thing is, while I will put a rotor up for the event controllers and for these status lights, I am not going to put the AI blocks on the rotors. I'm a little bit concerned that the AI blocks, the direction that they're pointing is relevant for the direction that the ship is moving in. And I don't want to be in a position where the rotor kind of is like slightly misaligned and does weird things. And so I don't want to deal with a headache. So I'm going to keep the AI blocks on the main grid. I'll only put the event controllers on the subgrid. I was thinking for a little bit, what if I put the AI blocks on the rotor, and then instead of having two sets of AI blocks, which is the other thing, right? I'm gonna go back to how I did the approach, the docking and undocking in my old drone, where I have, for each of the two targets, I have two AI recorder blocks, and one of them is oriented forward and the other one is oriented backwards, so that when I do the undocking maneuver, the ship basically does the maneuvers backwards instead of like trying to turn around in place and then crashing into something. I was thinking for a little bit, why don't I just put that AI recorder block on a rotor and then turn the rotor by 180 degrees to kind of change the entire orientation, right? And be able to execute the sequence in reverse that way. But like that, again, too much headaches, too much things that can go wrong, or too many things that can go wrong. So 2 AI recorder blocks for each of the maneuvers. I won't have travel blocks this time. I will just use the approach basically includes the travel as well. I think that's the fundamentals of like how I want to change the drone, and I will get into the actual event controller stuff and how to set everything, how I'm going to set everything up once I've made the changes. So let me just go and make those changes to the drone that I just discussed, and we'll see you in a couple of minutes. Okay. This is something I didn't realize. It appears like the hydrogen engine requires power to start running. Since I'd undocked the ship to move the tank up here, there is no power on the ship. So maybe I do need a battery on the ship after all. I was hoping I could get away with not having to have one. But I guess that is not the case. Okay. I'll just slap one on here for now to get this up and running. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how we want to set up the drone path. Like previously, I'm going to have one AI recorder task for docking and one AI recorder task for undocking for each of the two bases. So we're going to have 4 in total. But unlike last time, we're going to have 2 AI move blocks. We're going to have one AI move block for the docking maneuvers, and we're going to have another AI move block for the traveling between bases. This will allow us to configure them separately and differently. For example, like have a higher speed limit for the travel, as well as like do things like enable precision mode or disable precision mode and collision avoidance and stuff like that. We'll just use 2 different AI move blocks and toggle between them. One thing I do want to check is, because I assume this is possible, but I'm not entirely sure, if we can actually toggle, kind of switch between AI move blocks in the middle of an AI recorder task block, kind of like executing through its waypoints, or if that interferes with each other. I think it's possible, but I should test that, because if not, then we'll need to rethink a little bit how we do these AI blocks. In terms of the kind of backup bug, and that's what I started calling it, the backup bug, like the drone bug that we run into with the old drone, right, where the drone approaches one of the waypoints, but then just kind of passes through it and then turns around and kind of slowly backs away from it. I have a couple of ideas how we might be able to address that. I have both in terms of, I have some ideas how to detect when it happens, as well as some possible approaches on how to fix it when it happens. But at least some of the potential fixes of when it happens, they require me to actually encounter the bug, so I can test them, because I'm not certain they will work. But for that, I need to run into the bug, which I'm currently, thankfully I'm not yet. And then for some of the detections are rather complicated. So basically what I'm saying is, like, I'll build the drone, and if we don't run into the bug immediately, we'll just let it run. I will blueprint the drone. If we lose the drone again through the bug, then I will just print the drone, and at that point we will experiment more closely and with the actual potential fixes that I have in mind. I do still believe that the bug occurs due to has occurred due to heavy load. If you reduce the load on the drone, the bug would go away. Right, that's why we ground down one of the 2 cargo containers, so that the drone would just have half the load essentially, and that helped. But it clearly, since the drone disappeared at some point, didn't fix it entirely. Let's put down the AI recorders and the AI move blocks that we need. Okay, so I've built these AI blocks. I haven't set them up yet. We'll do that in just a bit. I do want to talk a little bit about or docking and undocking, as well as about the hydrogen management, because I was struggling with that last time as well a little bit. So I've been using, this is the first time I'm building, well, it's not technically correct, it's the first time that I'm building hydrogen ship. The rocket in the silo technically is my first hydrogen ship, but we haven't practically used this yet, so I haven't been dealing with docking, undocking it yet, and so far. And most importantly, actually, I think, is all the there's no hydrogen storage on the rocket. Like, all the hydrogen that it loads is for its own consumption, right? Whereas on this ship, there's some hydrogen that I want to unload again at its destination, and there's some hydrogen that I need to retain for the drone to be able to fly. And so the way that I want to do this is, I consider the small hydrogen tank the emergency hydrogen, or the backup hydrogen tank, or reserve. I think with reserve hydrogen tank is what I called it. And so what I will do is, like, at the airspace, the drone, like, all its cargo containers go to a deactivate stockpile to fill up the drone fully with hydrogen. Basically, the small hydrogen tank will always be in stockpile. The only time it deactivates stockpile is when the storage tanks are empty. So if the storage tanks run empty, then the small hydrogen tank will deactivate stockpile and will continue to provide hydrogen to the ship and the engines. That kind of simplifies the hydrogen management, because the only hydrogen that I really have to worry about for the ship to be able to fly is the hydrogen in this tank. And I'm going to be as conservative as possible about using it. So the ship will drain from the storage tanks before it will start draining from the reserve tank. So yeah, I think that makes sense. I think that'll work, make it relatively simple with just like a couple of event controllers necessary. The other thing is the unloading of the storage tanks, or like loading and unloading of storage tanks. And this is actually a part where it needs to kind of like interact with the storage on the base, right? So for it to, the way that these gas storage tanks work, right, is if they are set to stockpile, then they will withdraw hydrogen from all the connected storage tanks that are not set to stockpile. And if they are not set to stockpile, then they will provide hydrogen to all the connected storage tanks that are set to stockpile. If they are all either set to stockpile or all not set to stockpile, then they will not interact with each other. So if I want to unload the ship, this means I need to set cargo containers to stockpile in the base, and I need to set its storage containers to not stockpile on the ship. And the other way around as well. Like, if I want to fill up these storage containers, I need to set them to stockpile on the ship and to not stockpile on the base. So there's going to be some interaction between the base and the cargo ship that is necessary. But yeah, I think we should start with setting up some of these event controllers, and we'll need a small grid connector for that. A small grid, what's it called? Rotor. The question is, where are we going to put the small grid connector? I don't think I can put it over top the... No. So I could put it here. Like, this is possible. But I was thinking about putting... I do want to keep space for an antenna. And these large grid antennas are so big. Can I put this on? I can't put this on top of here, right? Yeah. Woo! I mean, I could put an antenna here somewhere. Okay, so now I need a rotor. Move that one. Attach a small head. And now I can put small grid event controllers on here. If I'm not mistaken, I need 4 event controllers, possibly more. Okay. I also need status lights for some of these. Specifically, I need for the dock one. And I need 1 timer block, I think. I'm gonna put the timer block in the back here. Okay, let me set up these event controllers in the timer block. So cargo empty is when the gas tank filled equal or less 0 for the hydrogen storage, and I want them both to be 0 or less. And so the actions for this one will, first of all, we'll set the status light. No, wait, that's incorrect. Oh yeah, so I actually need to put a status light on this one as well, and I will need another event controller. Okay. Let's see here. So again, cargo empty. Yeah, select actions. Cargo empty status is, oops, toggle on, toggle off. So, and now the way, if we want to actually update this, we just change the percentage, and then it will have updated this. So the cargo is empty right now? No, that's not correct. Oh, I see. We need to actually change the percentage to where it flips over to slot 2, which it won't ever right now because they're not both full. Okay. Or not both empty, yeah. Here. I'm a little bit confused. I thought gas is 92. This one. And it's 0 on this one.
1 hour later.
Oh. I don't want to use cargo filled. I want to use gas tank filled. That's the problem. There we go. That is correct now. So now the light should be off. Yes, it is. Okay, perfect. And so now next is drone docked. Connector connected. If the connector is connected, we need to put the reserve tank. So in case we were running on reserve, we need to put it into stockpile. And then on the first one, we're going to set the status light. Docked. Toggle block on. Toggle block off. Next, ready to dock. Connector ready to lock. Blocks. We'll need to start the timer block. That's the timer block for docking. Let's set that up next. We need to lock the connector. And then we need to turn off the timer block here. Drone ready to dock. So that we don't immediately reconnect again when we disconnect. And use reserve, I think we'd set up, right? Maybe not. We did not. The events here are block on off. And we will use the cargo empty and the drone docked But we actually need the inverse of one of the two. Actually, we need the status lights for both of them anyway. Cargo empty. Drone docked. Yeah, I can just do an inverse status light here on top, I think. Make that red. Turn this off. And turn it on. So it's reversed. We are docked, so this should be off. Toggle block off. Use reserve. Cargo empty status and drone not docked. Then reserve is reserve stockpile off. Otherwise stockpile on. Yeah, I'm just realized I'm actually turning stockpile on and off from the other event controller as well, which I may technically not need to do because this one should take care of that, but that's fine. Okay, the last one is storage stockpile. So again, I need block on off because I need to combine the output signals from other blocks. In this case, actually, there's also like a setting block. I'll explain that in just a second. Actually, let's do that right now because we actually need that. So for this one, I actually need a special light. Let's see here. Okay, so this is the magenta. I've made this light here magenta. And this is a configuration light. So something that we're not controlling through an event controller, but we're controlling outside of an event controller. So when this magenta light is on, the drone is trying to load up its storage tanks. When it's off, it'll try to unload its storage tanks. That's kind of the idea. So now we can go into and say if it's docked and if it's loading, we'll put the hydrogen tanks into stockpile on, otherwise we'll put them into stockpile off. So if the ship is docked and we want to load it, we'll put the storage tank into stockpile, otherwise we'll put them not into stockpile. That'll also make sure that we supply the ship with hydrogen from the storage tanks when it's not docked. We should be able to just toggle this now, this light here, and that should start unloading this tank here. It does not, but stockpile is off. It might not because these other ones might be full here or not in, or have stockpile off on themselves. Wait, they don't have it on. That's what I mean. I actually need to repair this here still. Turn stockpile on here. This one should drain now, and it is. Perfect. And now if I switch this, it should reverse. Stockpile is on. But I guess all the tanks that have any amount of capacity are stockpiling right now. So like, let's turn the stockpile off here. Yeah. And now this should fill up again. Yes. And this one I should set to stockpile on. Okay. So one event controller I need to set up is here at the base. When something is docked here, I need to put all the hydrogen storage tanks. I need to put them in stockpile on, and when we're undocking, I need to put them in stockpile off. That way when we dock here, we can unload. But we can get this. Let's see here. So we're not docked anymore. This is what this here shows. Let's dock again. Okay, we're docked here. And we are unloading. This one is full. This one is empty. Let's see in the back. It'll also be empty. So now, when we undock, yeah, we're pulling from the reserve tank. And since stockpile on this one is now on again, it's not actually filling anything. And that's okay. It would normally fill from these tanks here while it's traveling, because these wouldn't be empty when it came here. But so far everything's working. Perfect. So I think what we need to do next is record the flight paths. I need to get some of these AI blocks down. So this here is for the docking undocking one and the travel one. Let's do the travel to home base first. Also, we need to set up the AI move blocks. We haven't done that yet. The docking one. The speed limit, I'll set to 5 meters per second for now. Minimum altitude, we don't need a minimum altitude. We want to align to peak gravity, and we want a relatively conservative roll and pitch. We want precision mode on, and we don't want collision avoidance on this one. For the travel, we'll set a minimum altitude of basically as high as possible. Is it 500? Okay. And then a speed limit of 100. We'll go all the way here with that one. And I'll do 5 and 5 here as well. This is one thing that I want to try when we encounter the bug again, if these here have to do with it. Precision mode off and collision avoidance on. So in this, for the travel one, we want it on. So now for recording the travel to base, basically what I want to do here is we're going to record the waypoints in reverse and then reverse them. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with unlocking and getting really close to the connector here. Let's turn it off so we can get close. We hug this really close here. And then we'll record a waypoint here. And then we're going to move out a little bit. Move away from the connector. This should be fine here. And record a waypoint. And then we'll just go straight up from here. I want to be like ideally at like 500-ish. That should be roughly that, I think. So let's record another one. And now... Oh no. My game is unloading. Okay, the game just crashed, but we're back. Let's see where we are here. Travel to home base, add waypoint, that's the right one already. Let's do that again. And now, did we set up this here yet? No, we did not. Let's see. Travel to home base. So these are recorded. We just need to reverse the order. And then we need to run an action here that activates the docking block. AI behavior on. And then on this one, we'll turn the docking ready to dock event controller back on. And here we need to turn off the loading light. So let's see, if I turn on the travel AI behavior, because that's the one that we would have typically on. Not only needs to be on, it needs to be playing, right? Travel to home base. Play on off. Okay, it switched to the other AI move, but it also stopped the playback of this one. Well, that didn't quite work. I do have quite a bit of pitch and roll enabled, and you can actually see that here. And I don't think that's a probably good idea. So let's disable this, put it to 0 basically for the docking maneuvers. I need to actually fill up my reserve tank here. Okay. I do think we need to travel back to the ice base and continue our setups there. Just because we don't have unlimited hydrogen, and if we mess around here a lot and it's not working, then we might run out of hydrogen. Okay. We're docked. We are loading. Yeah, these are actually filling up. That's great. Perfect. Cool. So let's basically go and record the same thing here again, the docking maneuver. So I will replace this here, add a waypoint, and then play. I did also want to double check because clearly switching the AI behavior on off does interrupt the recorder. So I wanted to double check if there maybe is a way to switch that without interrupting the recorder. Well, I guess I should look at the recorder waypoint what I'm actually using, right? The travel to home base. Aim docking AI behavior on. So this is, yeah, this should. If this is not possible, I will have to figure out how to do this. This is gonna be a little bit more. So instead of doing this on the first waypoint, we may have to do it on the last waypoint for the other action, which is fine. It's not crazy. But yeah, okay. Unlock, turn off, hug, record waypoint, back off. Like here, a little bit more. Like here. And then record waypoint, get up in the sky, 500 meters. And I realized that my horizon indicator up here in the front actually shows me my current altitude. So I didn't realize that before. So what? More than 500 meters? Then we record another waypoint. So now we should be able to activate the docking autopilot and then successfully dock, hopefully. And actually I will, I think, increase the speed on the docking one to 10 meters per second. That's because 5 is very, very slow. And I do hope we're not getting too close to these windmills. I may have to move them, or move the dock, I guess. Might be the easier option. Oh, I see. I didn't reverse them. Reverse order. So, in terms of traveling from here over to the other base, I want to try to let the AI blocks figure it out themselves, as in I've set a 500 meter ground distance, and I want to see if it can kind of fly over these mountains by itself without me kind of manually recording a path. That said, though, if it can't do it at a reasonable pace, then I will just manually record a path across the mountains, which is not that big a deal. It's coming down. This now needs to rotate all the way around. And I really hope that it clears these windmills here to do that. Oh, did it? I think it did bump against something. Okay, let me just go ahead and move this dock over a little bit. Okay. With this moved, I need to re-record the docking maneuver. Okay. Let's see. So one thing I want to test quickly is if we turn the travel to ice base 1 off, toggle block on off. So let's turn it off now. Oh. That was interesting. That block was off and somehow it still managed to... Oh, now it... Let's try it again. Let's turn it off. Turn it on. Yeah, and then it continues. So now we're moving to the second waypoint. We're lowering down. So if I now turn this off and turn it back on again, we'll keep going down, right? Yes. We'll turn this off. And now, while it's off, we switch the AI blocks and turn it on. No, we've reset in this case. So if I switch the movement blocks and toggle the recorder on off, it resumes correctly. That's so weird, man. I think it would have docked correctly this time if I had the the connector actually on. Turn off the AI block. Let's go back up. But yeah, since I can't transparently switch over between the AI move blocks, I think I may have to just go and add the switch over to the undock maneuver. Sorry, no, I can't do that because the undock maneuver is gonna be executed in reverse. Okay, I may have to do a timer block with a sequence of actions where I switch over to the new block, disable, enable the travel block. I can try that. I mean, manually, that worked. And lock? Come on. You should be locking. Why am I not locking? Oh, because this is not active. Okay. That's fine though. Okay, so then let me try this again with manually doing the maneuver. We're all the way over here. And we are traveling. Yeah, I think it's working. So what we did here, right? Like we had it on the travel AI move block until it reached the first waypoint, and then I manually switched it over to the docking AI move block and just toggled the recorder block on and off for it to resume from the current waypoint instead of restarting. Frankly, I think this I shouldn't have to do this. It seems like almost like a bug. But it is working, so that's good. The question is only, will it work also if we do these 3 actions in sequence in a timer block? It might not, but we'll see. So this time the event controller is on, so it should lock here and fill up our hydrogen tanks. Yep, perfect. Nice. Okay, so let's see here. We need some more timer blocks here. So what we need to do is turn this docking block on, toggle block on, although no, we need to do AI behavior on, and then we need to do the travel to iSpace, toggle that block off, travel to iSpace, toggle block on. That's what we've been doing manually, but just in a timer block. Let's see here. We need the travel to iSpace, and then at waypoint 1, that's where we'd run this. Resume, dock iSpace, trigger now. Unlock. And then turn on autopilot and travel. Okay, I think the right block is on, and I think we're lowering. The sandstorm doesn't make it easier, but I think it's working. Perfect. This event controller is still off. Let's turn it on so that we also dock correctly. Actually, let's just even better, right? Let's just set it up. Travel to iSpace. Live action. Drone ready to dock. Toggle block on. On the last one, loading status off, on. Nice. Haha! Perfect. Okay. Let's record the undocking maneuver. First waypoint is right here on the spot. Then let's unlock. Back off. Record waypoint. Raise to 500. Record waypoint. Okay. So let's see if we can play this. Let's also set up the actions here. So at waypoint 0, we need to unlock H2 drone connector, unlock, and then at waypoint 2 we need to play the we need to set up a timer block that switches the AI movement and plays the travel to base. Okay, so let's play this. Okay, yeah, it correctly undocked, perfect. Backed off. And it's flying up. Perfect. Okay. I mean, the reaching that waypoint is basically a given. So we need 2 more timer blocks. So undock from ice base. This here needs to then travel to home base. Trigger now. And travel to home base. Needs to turn on this block. And then play travel to home base. So I should be able to just say undock from ice base. There you go. It'll be now interesting to see how well this flies over to the home base, particularly how well it will deal with the terrain and kind of like maintain its 500 meters altitude that I've set. So it should switch over now any moment. Okay, it oriented itself towards the base correctly. So it doesn't seem to have switched to the travel behavior. Did I set the wrong... Let's see here. Travel to home base. Set up actions. Oh, I toggled it on. I didn't do AI behavior on, which would be the correct thing. Let's trigger now. So it's disconcerningly low. It's not maintaining the height at all. I'm pretty sure it's gonna crash, so I'm gonna abort here. This is a little bit annoying, frankly. I'm just gonna test it. So now I mean, clearly it's not working. I think the question is if I should try to use the other blocks, the other tasks, and see if they work better here, or if I should just abandon this plan and map out the path more specifically. Okay, let me just try differently then. Let me record a bunch more waypoints. Travel to home base, then I guess I would add more waypoints to this. I need to add them, so I would have to reverse them again and add them at the end, but also in reverse order. Oh, it's complicated. I need to get towards the base, which is over there, but I need to clear this hill. So I'm just gonna aim for above it a little bit, like this maybe. And I need to get the travel to base one. I'll need to reverse the order on these. Let's fly all the way up here to this one first. I think now I can see the base clear over there, so I should be able to just add one waypoint right here. And just add that one here. Let's get back to the ice base. Or closer to that at least. So at roughly 500. Here, that's okay. Let's look at the travel one again. Travel to home base. So I need to reverse the order again. And then turn on the traveler air behavior. Okay, that looks good actually. Looks pretty good. Okay, nice. So I now only need to transition correctly over to, well, the docking maneuver that we've recorded here might not even be working correctly. So I just realized I should probably use a third AI recorder block for the travel in the end. The reason being, if I now want to change anything about the approach sequence, I'd have to re-record the entire travel here again. And frankly, I need to change the approach sequence here again because it wasn't working back when we were trying to set it up. That's why we went to the ice base, because we needed hydrogen. So I'm going to install... I'm going to land first, and then I'm going to install 2 more recorder tasks. Actually, I'm not going to dock because I don't want to drain all my hydrogen here. But I'm going to install 2 more recorder tasks. I'm going to take the AI recorder task, travel to home base, and I will delete waypoint 3 and waypoint 2. And this one I will rename to air recorder dock home base. This one's gonna be dock at ice base. This is gonna be the travel to ice base. Then let's record the dock at base. And then we'll unlock, turn off, hug. This is weird. I don't understand. I don't understand. Okay, I don't know why this works. I used the recording function instead of adding waypoints manually, and that got me in the right position, so I'm just gonna take it. Okay. Man, this game. Do I have an undocking for the base? I do not. Okay. So I'm just gonna record this too, I think. Stop. Travel to ice base. Another waypoint right here. And then aim for that mountain. Now the docking maneuver doesn't work anymore. Maybe using 10 meters per second is just too fast, and I need to do it slower. Let's try that again. Let's just let it do its thing. Its thing. Let it do its thing. I mean, this time it worked. I did get off and onto the ship. Maybe that wasn't a good idea while I was docking. Okay, let's see. On-dock maneuver from ice base. And since I've set up the transition between the waypoints, it should then travel to the base. Please turn the nose. I thought the whole point about precision mode is that it will turn the nose. I guess I need to record that again. Good job. Is there a way to kind of like make the gyro less strong? I wonder if that would help, like, because it seemed to be bouncing back and forth a little bit. Yeah, here. Hello. Maybe that'll help. Okay, I mean, this worked, but it also was pretty much aligned before it got there. Let's lock it. Okay, let's play this. Yay! So, let's see here. Turning the ready to dock event block on, event controller on, and then loading status toggle. I think both of these we still need to do at the, yeah. So this here, loading status toggle off. And then this one here, ready to dock, turn on. Okay. I'll fly it back and forth once more. I'll fly it there and I'll hope that it will correctly dock and unload. And then I'll fly it back again only on reserve and hope that it makes it. Because if not, it'll just fall out of the air somewhere. Let's see. Oh, it docked. Is it unloading? No. It's still loading. What did I do wrong? Dock at home base. Toggle block off. Drone loading status. Drone loading status is on. Why is it on? Did I never reach this waypoint? Oh, I don't know. Well, let's manually flip it and see if it works. Toggle block off. Yeah. Well, unloading. Okay, let's see if we can fly back just on the reserve tank. So we're down to 45%. I don't think this here is the halfway point. I actually think we're probably past the halfway point. But it is going to be very close. And I think if it drops too low, I will just take over and fly the remainder myself. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is not gonna do it, at least not safely. So I'm gonna take over now. Made it. But yeah, I think what that should mean for me is that I will need to undock the ship at the base before it reaches 0 capacity on these gas tanks. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add another event controller here. Actually, I need a cargo full and cargo 10% empty or something like that. Let's give it a shot. Okay, we are docked, but the stockpile is still on. And the reason for this is that this didn't turn off again, just like last time. So something is going on. This is apparently not triggering correctly. Yeah, I have an idea. Maybe I accidentally recorded it too close or something? Why is this not... No, it should... Okay, let me try something. I have an idea. I'm gonna, add one more waypoint. I'm gonna delete this action here. And I'm going to set up an action here to turn off the light. What's it called? Loading status? Toggle block off. And let's manually turn it off for now. Toggle block off. Okay, I think we're now unloading. Yeah. Once they reach 10%-ish, they should... the drone should leave again. There we go. Okay, so we have drained the ice base of all its hydrogen storage. Right now, the only hydrogen that is filling these here is what is being processed in these O2H2 generators. They are really slow at doing what they're doing. But yeah, that's what's going on. So the drone worked fine. It did the trips, no problem. The only thing that I had issues with was switching the loading status light. I had it hooked up to these waypoints on the docking path. Specifically, I had it set up on the last way. So this used to be the last waypoint, and I had it set up here. And I was unsure if this waypoint was being kind of like reached. And if the drone can't reach a waypoint, it will skip to the next one. So I thought, what if I just add another waypoint at the end, and then it would hopefully trigger this action? But it didn't. It didn't seem to either. So what I did instead, I put toggling the light in the undock path, and now it's gonna get toggled on and off when it leaves the base, depending on where it goes to next. So as you can see, this time it is correctly set to loading, and it's at the ice base. I think I can count this as a success. So thanks a lot for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. It greatly helps with the YouTube algorithm. And if you want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe. I upload Space Engineers videos every week, and there's lots of other stuff to explore. And if you have feedback to give or want to talk to us about Space Engineers, please do so in the comment section below or on our Discord server, link in the description. Thanks a lot for watching. See you guys next time. Bye.